Space Action Podcast! La, la, la. With your hosts, Chris Carson and DC and Shama.
Welcome to Space Action Podcast, a division of Space Action Heroes, a webcomic you can find at spaceactionheroes.com. I'm Chris Carson.
And I'm still gonna do the pirate voice, cause it's fun to do accents. Yeah, I lied. You didn't think? And then I'm gonna do a Mexican accent, and then I'm gonna do a Mexican pirate.
Ooh, a Mexican pirate. That kind of describes Guillermo del Toro. I think he would be a Mexican pirate.
Denise so and Shama.
Hello. This week this is our Netflix episode. We're gonna talk about a couple Netflix originals that
All that thick Netflix content
that
streaming into your living
streaming
room.
right into your eye holes. We're doing I don't know. I guess we'll do El Camino and then Dolemite Is My Name.
Dolemite.
And fucking up motherfuckers is my game.
That's goddamn right.
Oh, so to start with, El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie,
the Breaking Bad film, starring Aaron Paul, and the
Jesse Plumpkins, or that weekend where oh my god, I forgot his name again already. That weekend where Todd got fat. That's the subtitle for El Camino.
I'm telling you, man, Todd just, he was up there making some meth, taking care of Jesse and just eating pizza.
He's got a thyroid problem.
Yeah, they clearly like pizza.
Yeah.
And he's just
a little too much.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden that Lydia chick calls him up. He's like, oh shit.
I gotta get on the treadmill.
So he gets on the treadmill, loses some pounds, and that's why he looks like he does at the end of the series.
Show, yeah. So that scene is during one of the months long. It's between when Walter goes up to the cabin and then when it cuts to him 6 months later.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's during that. He got a little fat. And
he just got a little round. I think people are making way bigger deal out of this than it needs to be.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
We're not fat shaming people
it's
here.
It's right in the print, guys.
As someone whose weight fluctuates constantly, I could totally see that that's appropriate. But no, it was funny seeing Todd's big belly.
So unsettling.
It was so
pretty much the long story of the plot. Jesse Pinkman, after the events of the finale of Breaking Bad, escapes from the neo-Nazi camp and is on the land.
Needs some money and... What was that?
That was Davey making a pretty epic jump.
Oh, okay.
He took your phone case with it, but...
Oh, that's alright.
I'm proud of you, bud. That was dope.
Is it behind the thing now?
Yeah, and Jack just tried to do it, but it wasn't half as impressive.
I'm gonna have to dig that out.
Oh, no, it's not behind. It's
okay.
We're good.
I enjoyed it, but I think ultimately it was
completely pointless.
And I think that is like a dark cloud over my enjoyment of it, where
I just want to say first that I loved it.
Yeah,
I agree. It's completely pointless.
It feels like I think someone at some point will just edit it in to the final few episodes of Breaking Bad where it actually falls in.
Yeah.
And I think if it had been in the show, it would have been really interesting to see, because Jesse's barely in those last few episodes.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. He just disappears after he gets...
Which is way more horrific, because it just implies, oh god, what are they doing?
Gone. Yeah. So if it was actually in the show, it feels like, when they come out with, the director's cut of a movie, and there's just completely pointless scenes crammed in because they want to sell another DVD?
Yeah.
Kind of felt like that to me.
Sure. I could also see it as, outside universe kind of thing, where it's Vince Gilligan trying to be I can direct a feature. Give me a cowboy movie.
Give me something.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable.
Oh, yeah.
It was well crafted, it was well written, it was well paced, it was well edited.
Oh, dude, I forgot how good they are at building tension.
Oh, yeah,
those guys. Jesus fucking Christ.
Everything was great, but the shadow for me is that it served no real purpose.
Yeah, because when I started, when Breaking Bad ends, you're kind of all right, Jesse's off, man. He's probably going to take his car and probably head to Alaska or something and get some money.
That's exactly what happened.
And then you get to see literally beat for beat. That's what happens.
That's exactly what happens.
But what I liked about it, though, is that I'm a huge Sergio Leone fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Man with No Name trilogy. It was such a send-up of bandits in this unforgiving wasteland, just trying to find the stash of money before the other guys do.
Yeah, exactly.
It had those old cowboy elements right down to the draw scene. A little bit on the nose, doing a high noon draw scene. I was I get it. Yes,
did he actually say cowboy style?
He totally does.
Yeah.
But it did yield that one great line where the muzzle burns his jacket, and the guy on the halfway goes, "Man, you're on fire." I laughed my ass off. That's just Vince Gilligan being "Yeah, I'm good at this. I know. I'm really good at writing the shit out of this."
Vince Gilligan. They should get rid of Chris Carter and let Vince Gilligan do an X-Files revival, because Chris Carter clearly fucks it up.
Yeah, maybe that's the missing element, eh?
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. In terms of like what was the benefit of it, I did like seeing Pinkman finally transition into this independent thing, because that show was all about like these prolific, strong, independent male characters like Hank Schrader or Mike, and then Walter. You finally get to see him kind of graduate. I love that scene whenever he collects their IDs and he's partially Mike, but he's partially Walt.
Yeah.
He's intimidating, he's threatening, but he's smart and concise with what he says.
Yeah.
He's a little bit Gus, where he just talks you into a corner.
He's sort of just gotten all of his influences and created this persona.
This perfect persona of like, oh, I would not fuck with this dude. He's earned his right to get the fuck out of here and shit.
The Walter White scene, you made a good point that it was ultimately for the one line that Walter tells him.
Yeah, so everyone's kind of praising this line of like, oh, it's so heartwarming whenever Walter says, I'm envious of you. You didn't have to wait your whole life to do something amazing. And, you know, it's such a heartfelt moment. But I'm like, no, the whole thesis of Breaking Bad is that Walt's ego
he's evil.
Destroys everyone he loves.
Everyone.
So even in that early glimpse, in that scene, I think Vince Gilligan said it's supposed to be just after the episode where their battery dies and he tells Jesse he has cancer. They're in that diner, and Walt once again is only thinking about himself.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're
and
doing
manipulating Jesse too.
Yeah. He's like, "We're doing something amazing here." Every single decision Walt makes ruins his life.
Oh, absolutely.
Winds him in a neo-Nazi camp in these horrifying fucking conditions. And that was another thing I like seeing, like
neo-Nazis. Yeah.
Finally.
I know.
They're not getting enough fucking media attention.
So sexy.
No, it's like seeing him in that fucking just under in a pit with bars with a tarp over just in case it rains.
Making him run back and forth to test the chain and
everything.
everything.
That's your recreation. Dude, you're spending most of your time in that pit.
Yeah.
Like, just the visual of that, I was like, that is fucking nightmarish. This kid was in there for God knows how long.
Yeah.
To the point where, like...
How long do you think he was in there?
I would say...
6 months?
Maybe close to a year.
Maybe close to a year?
Because there's that part... If you look at how much Walt's kind of aged and shrunk down when he grows his beard out, like, that's probably about like close to a year, right? 8 months to a year.
Around there?
But whenever he wakes up at Skinny Pete's and Badgers, and he just he sees the tarp for a second, and then he has complete PTSD. He almost
it's us.
Dude, like that was such an effective scene. Like he was very Clint Eastwood in this movie, where he didn't have to say a lot to convey how fucking intense he was.
And Skinny Pete was adorable. How he was just, you're my hero, man.
Yes.
Like, aw, you're like 50. He's like 20.
But what I love about that universe is, once again, like it's you want your characters. I hate it when there's dopey, useless characters. They're never not in the way. They're never funny. Like they're stereotypes.
They're just pointless.
What I love about Badger and Skinny Pete,
what's the, sorry to interrupt, but the Patton Oswalt routine where they wanted him to play the gay friend, and he was like, the gay friend is always portrayed as like some world wisdom genie of advice, and he wants to play him like his gay friends who are just idiots. Who are just dumb and sloppy.
Because it's not like, I don't know, we don't like those tropes because they're not realistic.
They're not real.
It's more like heartwarming when you see realistic representations of what's out there. These two junkies, and you're like, oh, they're actually really good at their job. Yeah. They're smart as fuck.
Good.
Yeah, that's how they survived this fucking long.
Yeah.
Another thing I love that I did not pick up on is the money that they give Jesse is the money that Walt gave them for the laser pointer stent.
Oh.
So
I didn't even think about that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so fucking, like, little shit like
it
that.
happened right after, too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they're just like, listen, this guy used us essentially to get one step closer to you. Now you're out.
Yeah.
This is your money, you know? Like.
And it seems like they were really intentionally teasing that Walter White might still be alive. Because in all the advertisements leading up to it, they were playing, like, news clips and stuff. But they were not specifically saying whether or not Walter White was taken away from the scene or anything.
I think one of them said, like, they're going over, like, 9 people were killed.
People were counting out the bodies.
They were, like, confirmed to be, one of them is confirmed to be high school's teacher, Walter White.
In the movie, that happens.
Yeah.
But in the ads leading up to it, they didn't. So that ad specifically had the internet on fire because everyone was going back and watching the scene and counting to see how many people were there, if Walt was part of it. So it is almost because they're doing that slow pan in on the wrecking ball guy, the dump guy, the guy who crushes the cars.
Yeah.
He's watching the news segment, and then they really poignantly get to that line of Walter White, who died at the scene, and that's finally the reveal of, oh, Walt's dead. Because they really teased he might not be leading up to the movie.
Right.
Which I'm glad he was. I didn't
Yeah.
want him to be alive.
Right.
I wanted him. I think that's just too perfect of an ending for Walter White.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I always like the adage like no one can kill Walt but Heisenberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's he closes his arc. You know.
Yeah, and I think that would have just. I think Vince Gilligan's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows that would have really undermined that arc.
But still had to get him in there somehow.
So I'd get him in with a
his-
flashback
With a
conversation.
CGI ball cap.
Yeah, was that? I noticed something was weird about him. He
Yeah.
looked just too thick or something.
Yeah, they had to put. He's filming something. Oh, you know what? He's on the Broadway production of Network right now.
Oh, is he playing the Mad as Hell and not taking it anymore?
Yeah, they literally flew him in. Like they realized, like if he was seeing Albuquerque, people would figure it out.
Right.
So apparently, it was like this huge covert ops thing. They had to
Sneak
smuggle like
him
a
in.
box on his head and everything.
Yeah. You think
So-
that would tip people off too?
Yeah.
Who do you think the guy with the box on his head is? Who could that be?
Hey, where's Bryan Cranston? He's not in
Yeah.
New York City right now. It's like whenever Bruce Wayne absconds out of Gotham City on to go on a yacht the same week that Batman shows up in Japan. It always bugged or Hong Kong, I should say. It always bugged the shit.
You know what always bugged the shit out of me from that same damn movie is why Bruce Wayne would be at the revealing Batman press conference. It's like why all these reporters are around listening to Harvey Dent talk about the Batman. You're like, no one's going.
This
Hey,
one
Bruce
billionaire."
Wayne's here. Why is this one guy here? What's up with that?
Shouldn't you be running a corporation?
Yeah, you're a playboy asshole. Why do you care about politics? Oh, nice eye mole.
But yeah, I mean, like, I just love that universe so much
Yeah.
that you show me a one more glimpse into it. I just love it. I love the staging of that scene with the two guys pretending to be cops.
Oh right, yeah. That was
'Cause
just zigzagged back and forth so much.
I could have watched that all day long.
Yeah.
Of just like the shifts of power in that situation.
Yeah,
and
that was great.
My favorite is whenever he's like, "Lieutenant, can you come in here for a second?" And the dude gives this micro performance.
He's like, why? Yeah, because he knows.
He knows something's up. Where he's like, it took me a bit. I'm like, why does this feel so off?
Yeah.
And it took me like a second. Like when I sat there and thought about, it, I'm like, oh, because once he called him lieutenant,
He knew that.
he was like, what? No one. He knew just call me Tom. Like,
Yeah.
why are you calling me by the fucking name? It's so cleverly laid out.
Because when that moment happened too, I was like, wait, is that like their code? If they use their title, then
Why is
they
he going
know-
for his
why is
firearm?
it- Yeah.
You know, like,
Oh, they're not even cops.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh. I also
everything about it was great.
yeah. Just proof. I think this is that dude's like stretching his legs, being like, I can still write the fuck out of this universe so goddamn well. Please watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah, when's that coming back? It feels
Should
like it's been off the air
be-
forever.
I feel like it comes back at the start of the year, like in the spring.
Has it been? I guess because it's only 10 episodes, 10 weeks, no breaks. It just
Yeah.
comes and goes so quickly.
Yeah.
So I guess it was the beginning of 2019 was the last Better Call Saul. So it's going to be the beginning of 2020 before the next one. And do we know for sure if that's going to be their final season?
I thought it would be because that's number 5 for them, and
yeah.
then like Breaking Bad was also 5. Let's
But
see.
I guess it depends if their ratings have been ramping up. That they might want to go a little longer. But they've got him situated now to just become Saul, especially with the finale of last season.
Exactly.
There's not much left for him to do.
They've introduced Lalo.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like the end games, like kind
Yeah.
of the beginning. So yeah, it's slated number 5 is going to air in 2020. No mention if it's the final season or anything.
Because I heard rumblings that it might be season. They might do a season 6.
Yeah, I heard
But
that too.
That worries me because Better Call Saul is. I love the fuck of Better Call Saul, but I can't deny there is a lot of filler in that show.
Sure, yeah.
Which is fine because the style of the show kind of works with that. It's
Yep.
slow moving, procedure based law.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but then at the same time, it's like don't too much more might kind of ruin it.
It never works for any series.
No.
Like, I don't care if you're Vince Gilligan or fucking Ronald D. Moore.
Right.
Like, too much time is just like,
Yeah.
all right, I can feel you spinning your wheels.
We all remember Starbuck being sent off to find like magic artifacts and shit. And it's like this is pointless.
Wait, no, there's gonna be a payoff. She's
Gata's legs get shot.
she's in it. You know what? Rewatching because I went through Battlestar again recently, I was a little bit more forgiving of that storyline.
Yeah?
Just because of like how much they really drive home. I'm gonna go for a Better Call Saul to talk about Battlestar. I will any day. God damn it.
This is a good. We're good segues.
We weave. We weave.
Tapestry. We should call this the Tapestry
Exactly.
podcast.
Oh, and also, no, I'm thinking of Fargo. I was going to say Mary McDonald shows up in both,
Oh.
but she's in Fargo.
She's in Fargo?
She's in Fargo, not Breaking Bad. Anyways, point of the story is that they really drive home it's a family. And so that's like really like the Fredo and the Godfather moment of like, oh, Gata turned on them. Because since then it's been like Zarek or like some X or like the Pegasus.
Right.
Or the Cylons. It was never someone...
External force.
Yeah, and just in seeing it was Gata, the dude who... And even it's laid out throughout the whole series. I think it's in the first episode where at one point... Ty's just telling Gaeta, like, because Ty's Ty, just being like, well, just do it for frack's sake. He's like, it can't be done. And then, Dom was like, Mr. Gaeta.
Yeah, like,
and he's like, it can't be done, sir. Yeah. And it was always there that Gaeta was quiet, but he's super smart.
Yeah.
And he's always a little bit rebellious. So just seeing that come to fruition in season 4, I was like, okay, it was always in there.
Yeah. And then that tragic moment of it, his leg finally stops itching right before he's shot.
Yeah, because I guess maybe the first time I watched it around, I didn't know where it was going, but just the second he gets shot in the leg, I was like, oh no, this is the beginning of the end for him.
Oh yeah.
This is where he starts
downward spiral.
He starts to fucking lose it. So yeah, I was a little bit more of all the story arcs they could have had in that final season. I'm like, you only have so many moments, so much time left. Why are you burning content?
Yep.
That was something they laid out in the beginning.
Yeah.
And also the benefit of it, I think after that, that's when Adama's like, okay, we have to split the fleet up. If this is a volunteer mission, you can come if you want.
If you
because
want to.
I'm not dragging more people along with me.
And I don't need some more of that insurrection bullshit.
Yeah, I don't need anyone teaming up with any more fucking former prisoners turned vice presidents any fucking longer. This is batshit.
We got to, for like me and Sam and I did a Battlestar podcast, but we should do a Battlestar Part 2 at some anniversary.
Well, they got the reboot coming up.
They've been talking about that forever, though.
Yeah.
Because Bryan Singer was going to do it forever, and then, Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's sort of... You know what else got to weave our tapestry a little deeper? The Conan movie was canceled. They were shopping around a Conan series based on the original, like, books by whatever the hell the guy's name was.
Yeah.
But they were complaining about it because every network and everything was saying it's too masculine.
It's too archaic.
Too toxic masculinity, too guy power.
But isn't that kind of
that's
what you
Conan.
need to right now? It's just like, you need someone to be like, look how ridiculous this is.
True.
Like,
or does Conan have to be? Like, I think just because the time period interests me so much, is that it's set in 10,000 BC,
right,
at the fall of a previous great empire who built all these pyramids and everything,
right,
Atlantis, and it's set. I don't remember what the name of the land is called, but it's supposed to be this great civilization fell. I guess 12,000 years ago now, and this is the first rising of humans coming back to power, and Conan is the barbarian in the middle of it all.
Right.
That's an awesome... You don't need to have, like, female sex slaves to tell that story.
Yeah.
You also don't need to have, like, super empowered women to tell that story. You could just make a movie or a show about Conan.
Go like the Gladiator route, man.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
Why does a muscular man character sexist now?
Yeah, like, why is that like, unacceptable?
You know what I mean?
It's like, it's kind of representative of the time. That is what you would find is just fucking a giant warrior dude. Like, and the irony is, if you put him in fucking tights or an iron armor, that's okay. You can still have that beefcake stereotype, but he has to quip and be Chris Hemsworth.
And he has to have he has to have powerful women above him.
Yes.
Which is, you know what? 10,000 years ago, or 12,000 years ago, set in the fall of Atlantis, have some fucking queens and shit in there. Who cares?
Yeah, just have a queen that not to kill people.
Right, you just have Conan still be Conan.
You listening?
You listening to the internet? I guess He-Man will never happen, too.
They're doing that. Masters of the Universe?
It's an animated series. Kevin Smith's doing.
Yeah, they're picking up after where the original... I was never huge into He-Man, so I'm like, I don't really have a huge investment in it, but they're picking up where the animated series left off.
Because they were making a movie, they even cast He-Man, but that got shelved for the same reasons, toxic masculinity. I think I was... Did you ever see that Netflix series? I guess it's the Netflix episode, so we can talk Netflix. The Toys That Made Us?
I saw the Star Wars one.
Star Wars one?
Yeah.
You should watch the He-Man one. Because I don't think I liked He-Man either, but I was huge into He-Man. But when you watch the doc, they're talking about how child psychology was a new thing. And there was no rules guiding it yet. So they literally mapped out this series around manipulating children with child psychology. So his catchphrase is, I have the power, is because every kid feels powerless because their parents are controlling them at all times to raise them, and every little kid just wants to have the power.
Gotcha.
So when you pull out your magic fucking dick and go, I have the power, his big sword, and turns him into a man.
Right.
It's like, it just hits every piston of child psychology. And they even laugh at it in the show. They're like, yeah, and looking back, it might have been evil, but we used every tactic.
That's pretty funny.
And so I'm watching it being like, I was so into He-Man, and now I'm wondering if I even ever was.
Right.
Or if I was just manipulated into He-Man.
How many times did you see the live action movie?
I didn't get that. I hated it. Because I think any He-Man kid hated it because none of the He-Man...
It's famously terrible.
None of the characters were in it.
I haven't seen it.
It's like, it's He-Man, Skeletor, Evelyn, Tila, and Man-at-Arms are in it. 5
I think
characters.
I've watched it once. Like, it's one of those things like someone threw it on at a birthday party and you were 8.
Terrible.
Yeah, it looks, the makeup was just atrocious. That's what I remember.
But the whole thing, like the love of He-Man is all the characters. None of the characters were in the movie because they wanted to sell new toys because the toy line was starting to kind of flounder.
Okay, so it's one of those.
She-Ra ruined the line because
It's like the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, they just completely changed it from the actual source material.
Damn.
So you're like, what the fuck is the point of this then? But another interesting thing about that doc is they talk about how, like it's true. I mean, I don't think it's anti-progressive to say little boys and little girls are different, and little boys don't like their sisters, little girls don't like their brothers when they're little. They tend to fight and butt heads if they're about the same age. So when Mattel released She-Ra, suddenly He-Man toys were being played with by your little sister.
Right.
Wasn't as cool, and that's when sales dropped. So suddenly it was like, oh, this isn't cool anymore. What's the next thing?
Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And that's where they stepped in with trucks that turn into robots?
I think Transformers was around the same time as He-Man. They're both
I
early
want to
80s.
say Transformers was later.
He-Man was... But the original He-Man, I would love to make a He-Man movie based on the original comics. Because when the toys were produced, they actually released mini comics with each action figure in the first line of figures. And it was just a Conan thing. It was literally... The story was that He-Man had half a sword, and then Skeletor had the other half of the sword. And they were on a planet where half was always in light and half was always in dark. And the darkness was controlled by Skeletor, and the lightness was controlled by no one. It was just wild jungle.
Okay.
And then the Skull Mountain castle thing could be unlocked with these combination of the two swords, but both sides had to come together to put the sword together to unlock the castle.
Okay.
That was it. Streamlined as fuck. It was basically Conan the Barbarian light.
Okay.
That concept, I think, for a movie would be awesome.
That's badass.
It's
Yeah.
badass.
And it's simple too.
Super simple.
Yeah, it's like Fury Road. It's like we're just gonna
Right.
we have two opposing things that have to bring them together
to open up a mystery.
That's cool.
That would be awesome.
And also you get like contemporary wise of just like, hey, you two polar
Work
opposite
together.
sides work together maybe.
But then apparently all the original creators of the toys hated the series because they were like, who's Prince Adam? Why is He-Man like some douchebag who holds a sword up and turns into He-Man? What the fuck is this?
Why is there no clear cut villain? Why are they working together?
Right. They didn't like the original guys didn't like it like the cartoon at all.
Interesting. So He-Man actually precedes Transformers by a year.
Really?
83, yeah, and then Transformers was 84.
nuts. I never was into Transformers. Yeah.
I loved it.
The Dinobots I liked because I was super into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But like I was never like a fire truck kid.
Right. I could never follow the plot line for the life of me, but I just loved my Megatron was always my favorite.
Yeah.
Because I always gravitated towards the bad guys, like Darth Vader, like, especially giant bad guys that were smart, like Darth Vader or Megatron. And then whenever Jurassic Park got huge, do you remember Beast Wars?
Oh yeah, that CGI one.
Yeah, so they just mixed it up where they turned into animals. And that show...
That had Dinobots in it too, didn't it? One guy
was actually called Dinobot,
yeah.
What was cool about that show is at one point... I'm such an idiot. I'm watching like 2 seasons of the show as a kid. It's called Beast Wars Transformers, for God's sakes. The main character is called Optimus Prime. The main antagonist is Megatron. Not until there's an episode. It was pretty badass. They do almost like a Back to the Future Star Trek kind of thing where they crash land in prehistoric Earth.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And then their Matrix scans dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
the saber-toothed tiger for some reason.
No.
There was a saber-toothed
No,
tiger.
he was a cheetah.
It was a cheat, but still, at the same time, big cats and dinosaurs didn't really live together.
Listen, man.
It's a little Flintstones logic.
Okay, yeah, sure, fair. I'm trying to think. There was like rats and pterodactyls. Well, I guess rats have been around for a while.
Rats, probably. I don't know. This predates mammals.
Rhinos?
Though. Mammals inherited the earth.
Were there rhinos? There was a rhino.
I don't think so. I think they were called Triceratops.
You know what? They must have based them off the toys, and they were just like, listen, dude.
Stick it all in there.
Yeah, we want to have dinosaurs because it's huge right now, but we also want to have a monkey.
Yeah. Rhino wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. But I just remember that season 3, they find the Ark, the ship that the Autobots crashed on Earth in, but they're still in stasis lock, which is like a coma version that the Transformers go into. Megatron puts a bullet in Optimus Prime's head and changes time. It's fucked up, and they all start to die and shit, like Back to the Future style, where they start disappearing.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, oh, it's a prequel to Transformers! Oh, I get it now.
Did you see the new Bumblebee movie?
No, but I heard it's good.
I haven't seen it because, again, I'm not a huge Transformers guy, and I watched the first 5 minutes of it, which takes place on the Transformers planet, and they're all designed like the cartoons.
Yes, that I saw.
I was like, that's fun.
That I saw, yeah.
And then as soon as it came to Earth, I was like, I don't care. And I just stopped watching it.
Someone said it's just the Iron Giant, but with Transformers.
With the Transformers.
So, I don't know. I'll watch it eventually. But.
I remember I saw some clips of the girl in it, the main character. She annoyed me. I was like, I don't want to watch 2 hours of her.
Yeah, that's the problem whenever it's one of those like little kid movies like Stranger Things or fucking E.T. It's like if you don't like that main kid, it's like I have to spend
out.
2 hours with just you in this thing. Like
I'm not really digging you.
Yeah.
So well.
It's a credit to what's his face, Denholm. What's the name of the kid in fucking E.T.?
Is it Denholm Elliott?
It is Denholm Elliott.
No, his name's Elliott.
It is, right?
Elliott in the movie. Denholm Elliott, I think, is Marcus Brody.
As it is Marcus
Yeah.
Brody.
from Indiana Jones.
It took me a second. I'm like, I'm crossing my Spielberg streams here. Hold on. What's his fucking name? The kid who plays Alex Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas.
Because I'm only thinking of it now. I watched that movie a lot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like since a kid to today, and it keeps getting better every time I watch it. But like Elliot is so like he's empathetic. Like I watched that movie as a kid, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. That's totally how I would be if I found a fucking alien.
Right, yeah.
He's like totally flawed. He's kind of goofy, but he's funny. When he calls fucking Michael Penis Head, it's the
penis
breath. Like you're like this kid's hilarious, man.
Did you ever hear? Have we talked about the original idea for the sequel?
No.
The Spielberg originally wanted to do the sequel as a straight up alien invasion movie, and the idea was, that E.T. was a kid, so that's why he was so innocent. And they were on the Earth. Those aliens were on the Earth collecting samples to see if they could terraform it and live there. So the sequel was going to be a straight-up alien invasion movie where E.T. was going to be like the bridge between the two species, Elliot and E.T.
Can I point out how similar E.T.'s hand is to the alien hand that was on the War of the Worlds
Yeah.
poster?
Oh, yeah,
Do you think that was him being like, I'm going to do my
Maybe.
sequel?
Yeah.
I might disguise it as a Tom Cruise
Yeah.
War of the Worlds movie, but fuck you, I'm doing...
Yeah. He always wanted to do his alien invasion flick.
They look kind of E.T.-like. Like, if E.T. grew up, he could turn to a bug.
Into a thing.
With a tentacle eye and shit.
Yeah. So
Were
that's
we talking
interesting.
about El Camino?
Oh, yeah. Netflix, El Camino. I don't have anything else to say because we still got to get through Dolemite.
We still gotta get through Dolemite.
Dolemite Is My Name.
Yeah, man, it's an old Western with a Breaking Bad lens.
Yeah.
And I loved it for that. I thought that was...
I think...
but I totally get why a lot of people were disappointed.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it.
I wasn't disappointed because I didn't have any expectations for it. I was just like, I'm going to just see. I don't have expectations for things anymore.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? Like, for movies, I mean. Like, I just, like... I was really excited for Joker, and I was happy with it.
Right.
And what else? I'm really excited for The Irishman.
I thought The Lighthouse was...
I was excited for The Lighthouse.
Yeah, I was excited for The Lighthouse, and I felt like that delivered. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first movie I've seen in a while where it's like, that's exactly what I wanted. There's no loose ends. I don't have to come back for a sequel or any shit like that.
And I'm really excited for Jojo Rabbit, but because Hunt for the Wilder People is one of my favorite films of all time.
I still have to watch that.
You gotta watch it. It's amazing. But I've been seeing some clips from Jojo Rabbit where I'm like, oh. And I know clips are tough because out of context, you need to get...
especially his movies.
For sure.
Because I remember seeing clips of What We Do in the Shadows and being like, this looks ridiculous.
Right.
Like, I think I'm going to hate this.
Especially if it's a clip from later in the movie, because any movie is like a hot bath. You need to slowly ease into it to get into the world.
Yeah, if you just throw it straight in.
Straight in, it never works. But, yeah, I mean, check it out, obviously. I mean, I think I'm just probably doing huge numbers on Netflix, El Camino, I'd imagine. El Camino. I don't know. I know they're just horribly in debt, so I don't know how their profits work on Netflix. But yeah, apparently they're billions of dollars in debt.
To who?
To be just I don't know how financing works for streaming. I don't know how they make money.
Yeah, seriously.
Because there's no ads on Netflix, so I don't know how they make money. But
and they're very quiet about how their revenue stream works.
Yeah, I guess it's just subscription based. That's it. That's all they have is the subscriptions. And I've heard, I think if you look it up, that they're horribly in debt and they're just waiting for things to pay off.
They're going to get bought by Disney.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But
interesting.
The Irishman, I'm looking forward to that. Irishman. But on the topic of Netflix series, there was also a little movie from the writers of Ed Wood and the director of Hustle and Flow called...
My name is Dolemite.
Dolemite Is My Name.
Whatever.
But what did you think? What was your... Because you just watched it. I watched it a few weeks ago, so I'm a little more rusty on it than you.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, fucking seeing Eddie Murphy do anything again, you're just like, he's back.
Yeah.
He's doing things again. So that was, and the cast was nuts. Fucking, I haven't loved Wesley Snipes that much since Blade.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was amazing.
He was so good.
He was unrecognizable
as
Wesley Snipes.
He was actually doing a performance.
Yeah.
Like, that was really fucking funny.
He wasn't like some motherfucker trying to ice skate uphill. He was just doing a character.
And playing goofy, like super goofy.
Super goofy. Not taking himself seriously at all.
And like my favorite was just him chilling by the fucking monitors making a screwdriver. I'm like, that's my boy.
Yeah.
That's right. That's his classic.
What's his last line? It's like, I'll see you at the premiere. No, I won't. The thing will never premiere. Like, I'll see, whatever. And he doesn't show up at the premiere.
Just little things like that in terms of like black culture, the way they peppered it in. Like the fucking pork chops at the beginning. So you want some hot sauce? Or Craig Robinson's got some hot sauce on his collar.
On his thing.
Just the screwdriver in the bottle. I'm like, that is such a thing that a black dude would do on a hot summer day. Like, oh my god, that's awesome.
There was one scene in the movie, because I enjoyed it, but again, I wasn't like ecstatic about it. I think because I was comparing it too much to Ed Wood, because I knew it was the same writers, and it was a very similar structure. And Ed Wood is fucking brilliant. There's one scene in it that sums up kind of the movie for me, is when Eddie Murphy, what's the character's name? It's
Rudy
something.
I literally just
Rudy
Ray Moore.
Rudy Ray Moore. He's trying to figure out how to get his act together.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of created this Dolemite character, and he's kind of getting some money. His records aren't really selling because of the X-rated content and covers. And there's a moment where they go to see a movie, and they're not getting the movie. It's just some like 4 white people movie.
Oh, it was that Jack Lemmon movie with Susan Sarandon?
Yeah, and they're like, what's going on?
That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But there's this one scene.
Who the fuck is Henry Hoover?
Yeah. There's one scene where Eddie Murphy kind of does this like dramatic like look back at the projector with like a thinking face, and I was like, that's really on the nose.
There's
that's
a lot
really
of
silly.
I was gonna say the exact same thing about the montages in this movie.
We're gonna need a montage.
Yeah, one too many where I was like, okay. And I think that's a problem I had with the first half of it. For me, the movie didn't start to get traction until they started giving him, ironically, a character in the last half.
Right.
The first half, he's just this go-get-him guy who wants to become successful, so he does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not getting this dude, because Johnny Depp, I get his naivety, is his superpower as Ed Wood.
Especially because he was a shock comic, too. He was like a filthy comic.
Right.
He was like Red Fox.
Yeah. And then I wasn't understanding, like, what's his attitude? Why is he succeeding? Fucking Tommy Wiseau in the Disaster Artist, same thing. He's just rich. He just can keep throwing money at promise. I'm like, I get why this guy's failing upwards.
Right.
Him, I was like, I don't get why he's getting traction. He's getting an audience, but I'm like, but why?
But why? We never really saw his routine.
Yeah, and like, what is it about his personality that's so
magnetic? Yeah.
By the end of it, whenever he's trying like bring like a Lady D, was her name, up on stage and everything, she gives him like, you know what? There's never been someone like me on screen before.
Right, yeah.
And or when they're doing the production, they're like, this is a rat's nest. Like this Keegan Michael Key. And he's like, no, this is going to be our office. Don't worry. Then he started to have like this personality.
This charm and
Yeah, he became with this enigmatic charm. And I don't know, it was just missing for all the build-up parts.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, now he's just successful and I get him, but like it left the beginning a little hollow.
Do you think was that maybe a bit because Eddie Murphy is getting older?
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of his reactions were very stone-faced.
Yes.
Not a lot of emotion conveyed in his performance.
And I'm wondering, because he's been trying to get this made for a long time, I'm wondering if his heart's just so close to the material, he was just trying to do it so earnestly that some of the comedy got lost. Because there was still, like, you still had glimpses of Eddie's Eddie Murphy. My favorite is when, again, he's being all like charismatic and he's like, I have to sell tickets for this show tonight. I'm going to drive around town with a bullhorn. I'm going to hand out flyers. I love it.
Yeah.
And there's that one part. It's like these 2 white women smoking a cigarette, these older white women. He's like, hey, I'm Dolemite, I'm putting on a show tonight. And they kind of cringe. He's like, I don't want your uppity ass at the show anyway. And he just walks off.
Yeah.
That was like Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy. That was funniest thing.
It was weird because it's been so long since we've seen Eddie Murphy in anything.
Yeah.
He's a completely different person now. So it's strange. It's like watching a sequel like Indiana Jones 4.
Yes.
You're like, he's so much older now.
Yeah.
What's going on?
But he still has facets. Like when he started, like when he's clapping, when at the end, whenever they're all watching, everybody's laughing. And again, one of those scenes where I'm like, I'm not really getting it. Where he's like, is this a comedy or? And he's like, no, don't you see the people? They like it because they know what it's supposed to be. But I'm like, was that your plan the whole time?
Or did you fall back on that?
Or is that just you being like, no, it always was a comedy? Because again, I don't want to compare the 2 movies because they're so fucking similar. But The Disaster Artist at the end, Tommy's totally, you see he's shocked. He's upset that people don't like the movie.
People are laughing at his flick.
But then when they start clapping, that's whenever Dave Franco's like, look, they love it.
Right.
And you see that arc, that switch over happen.
But then at the same time, they shot the sex scene with the whole room coming down on him.
As a comedy.
So they had to kind of think...
I guess
Maybe he was earnest, that he wanted to be the greatest show on earth. He wanted drama, violence, comedy, everything in it.
He does kind of go through that. I guess that's that one scene where he's talking to Keegan-Michael. And he's like, and karate. And he just goes, karate. And it like turns into a Key and Peele skit. He's like, the karate. And he's just like, do you know karate?
All the satellite characters were all so amazing.
Yes.
They all work so well.
You need that in those kind of movie behind a movie characters. Is all the orbited characters have to be fucking hilarious.
They need to be spot on too.
Dude, Craig Robinson.
Yeah, he was great.
Just being like a ultra version of Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
Like he just pulls up a keyboard every now and then sings something hilarious. Like,
I love that whole moment, that gelling moment of when Dolemite his first act of Dolemite, and then everyone starts coming in with the music, and then it all just starts coming together.
That was really good.
And I wonder how, like, I imagine, obviously they did their research and know the stories, but is it just as simple as he went out and talked to a bum?
Probably.
And just got his crazy stories?
Probably.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think there are also a lot of just, like, these old kind of, like, slave jive fucking weird, like, I don't know, Muhammad Ali used to do them all the time. Like, I'm so sick, I put, what was it? Fuck. I'm so bad I make medicine sick.
Right.
I handcuff lightning, put it in jail. Like all those, like those are all just these old slangy, talk like jive talky. That's why they call fucking what's his face Ruby Ray Moore the Godfather of rap, because
he's getting the rhyme scheme down.
Yeah, and that's just essentially like, you know, the fucking slam talking and the fucking flow. That's the basis of hip hop. That's why it's so iconic in black culture, because it has those roots. But having said that, I think he was just recycling old... That has to be it. He was just recycling old shit he heard from these homeless guys.
That's crazy, though. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny.
And putting his own, like, spin on it
and
turn into an act.
And essentially giving a voice to the voiceless fucking people. Like, you know, like, it was a dying art form. You know, it'd be like someone bringing back vinyl, but for, like, a very niche culture. Like,
for sure,
black people being like, my grandma used to say shit like that, but never that filthy. That's insane.
Yeah. And I love the idea that at the height of blaxploitation, he still couldn't really get it made.
Right.
So he had all these stops. Like, he's like, I can't get a blaxploitation movie made. Like, what the fuck's that? And, like, he just kept trucking through. And I wonder if Rudy Ray Moore was as sweet as Eddie Murphy portrayed him.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Ed Wood, where I doubt Ed Wood was as sweet as Johnny Depp portrayed him.
Exactly.
He was probably a fucking scumbag.
Well, he was an alcoholic, for sure.
And ended in porn.
But also, I feel like whenever you say someone was an alcoholic anywhere before, like, the 60s...
That's just people?
Yeah, you're kind of like, that's just saying he was a human being who had a job.
What is that line in The Lighthouse where it's like, yeah, you're not a real man unless you drink?
Yeah.
Or you can't trust a man who doesn't drink, or something like that. But, it was good.
I enjoyed it, man.
I got a complaint.
What?
Technical complaint.
Ugly
as fucking shit. They clearly shot on digital. And I did not like the cinematography, and I didn't like the camera angles. Again, very technical.
I wonder if that was because I kind of had a similar feel, where I'm like, you can always tell the look of a Netflix movie.
Right.
They're like a little just.
I know. Just
somewhere between like television production and movie production is a Netflix movie.
Right.
And I remember
the Irishman can overcome that.
If anyone can do it,
yeah.
Come on, Maddie. What do you call it? Was the one line. When he gets in the fight by the FBI agent, he throws one in the trunk.
Yeah.
And Wesley Snipes turns to the DP. He's like, "Is there an angle so you can make it look like he's actually kicking someone?" And the DP just looks right at the lens and goes, "There is no such angle."
Oh.
Maybe that was them saying, like, with what we have, this is how it's gonna fucking look. Like,
it always makes me wonder if it just would be ultimately cheaper to dig out old cameras, because that's another example, like The Lighthouse, where if you're shooting a making or a behind the scenes exploration of a 70s character, why not use actual old 70s cameras in film? Is it that much more expensive to process?
Maybe that's what it is.
But then renting digital cameras is a fucking nightmare in terms of cost these days.
Maybe it's because everyone's going green in Hollywood, like the chemical processes.
Oh, maybe
that it takes to do this is killing the environment.
Because I think that can be my thread to the last podcast, where it's another example of where they should have gone old school with the tech.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool.
I was thinking that whenever they started doing the sines within the scenes, when they were starting the film, I was like, why didn't you? This would have been perfect. It would have been great if you just cut. Because
just the grain on the film, and
because at the end they were they show the actual scenes.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it was there, like, but you intentionally chose not to do it, and I get it.
Ugly digital. Yeah. I have a bit of a bias because I really hate digital.
Me too. I get it.
Really don't like it. It kind of the industry that I wanted to go into doesn't exist anymore, so it kind of sucks. Like I should have been born in the 40s, and then I would have been 30 in the 70s making shit like cutting on a flatbed.
The exact. I would have gone with 50s, but I see what you're saying here.
Yeah. Born in the 50s, then you're 20 in the 70s, along with Spielberg and Lucas and all.
Dude, you get to be a 10-year-old, 14-year-old and watch the moon landing. No,
right.
Sorry,
69. So
19.
you'd be 9.
Oh, that'd be mind bending. You being fucking
19.
college, like, dude,
yeah,
they're doing it.
We left the planet. You would still be. You'd be alive back when we didn't know there was other galaxies. And we still thought our galaxy was like 1/1,000,000th the size that we now know it is, too.
Right.
We didn't know there was an infinite number of them out there. It's insane.
It's a mind fucker.
But I don't know if I've told this story before, but like my first year of film school, we transitioned to digital because it was a while ago. But my first year of film school, we learned on flatbeds.
Oh, cool.
Just to get the aesthetic of it. I mean, clearly Final Cut existed, Avid existed, digital existed. But in the first semester, they wanted us to like go back to the roots of film. Yep. So we shot on 16mm and we cut on a flatbed. And I never was more at home than that process.
Yeah.
It was just so amazing. Now I'm probably rusty. It's been fucking 20 years, but cutting on a flatbed is the most organic feeling thing in the world. Because you really just have to feel out the edit. You're not just like counting seconds and laying layers onto a timeline. You're just watching it, feeling when it's right to cut, and then cutting it, literally physically taping the film together to the next cut, running it through. And I would do anything to be able to live in that world right now. Like, it's just so much better. It's so much more organic. So much more natural feeling.
Yeah. And I also feel like when you do it that way, because like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about, like, I had a similar thing with photography. Right. We're like doing the chemical process, developing the film, planning your shot. You can't just shoot infinite shots. You have
it takes
24
setup, skill, talent.
And then even when you're in the enlarger, you're burning and dodging stuff. You're changing the focus. It just, I don't know, to get that final image perfect, it just makes you become a lot more intimate with the process. Right. And it's just a tactile thing. There's that you can't capture with digital.
Not at all. And it sucks. I know we're going to sound like old fucking farts.
No, we're going to sound like Toronto hipsters.
We're going to sound like Toronto hipsters. But it's true. I think if both of us had been born in 1950, we would have been pretty kick-ass in the 70s. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep. I would have been Wooderson.
I would have liked to have hoped I would have been like an auteur Canadian dipshit in Toronto shooting weirdo fucking movies. Just on good old fashioned film.
Oh, you get to spend your 30s in the 80s where it just gets weird, so you're just filming like
a lot of
dark dystopian Queen West fucking films.
Do you think we would have ended up getting Me Too'd? We would have been like 60 now, 70 now, and be like, fuck. Yeah.
Listen.
Brando style, putting butter on women's vaginas or something. Like,
I cannot hold my fucking theoretical 50 born self accountable for anything. He does not represent me, the 1987 variety. Sorry.
But, I mean, I think ultimately you just kind of gotta watch this. They're on Netflix. They're easy to watch.
They're in your living room.
They're in your living room. El Camino and Dolemite.
Oh, you haven't started it, but there's I started The Watchmen.
Oh, right, okay.
So far so good. It's a little bit more racially charged in terms of, like, the position of, like, Black America, and how they're kind of persecuted by enforcement agencies. But having said that, it's interesting how they're still doing like an alternate universe take on things. I think the one thing the Zack Snyder movie got right was the opening credit sequence where we're just going to show you our world, but with a slight twist on it to show you this isn't our timeline.
Yeah.
Every Black American in the Watchmen universe has received some form of recompense for slavery.
Is it getting to fuck a white girl on Valentine's Day?
So you've seen it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
That just sounds like such an odd hit.
If you haven't heard last week's podcast, that's going to be the weirdest fucking statement for me to have just thrown out there.
Oh, God. Thank God that was on the podcast. I was like, was that off mic? Because then that's really just off brand.
No, that was on there.
Oh, Lord. Anyways, they've gotten reparations or Redfordations after the President Robert Redford. Who,
is it Redford?
Yeah, who he's just like on like, notable presidents. It'll be like Nixon, Washington, Redford.
Redford? Oh, it's actually Redford.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of Reagan.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this weird thing where like now black people have wealth, but like they're a little bit more on the side of authority. But at the same time, this like neo-Nazi group called the what are they fucking called? This is all like in the first episode too. They're the Rorschach gang.
Rorschach inspired neo-Nazis?
Well, because if you think about it, like it's kind of like fucking Christians reading the Bible and becoming neo-Nazis. They read Rorschach's diary and just fucking as I'm interpreting it, they're only 2 episodes in. There's a lot of controversy online where people being like, "Wait, Rorschach was never a racist," blah blah blah.
How did they get that? But then how do you get...
He does have one line about, about vagrant homosexuals and shit. So maybe they're extremists. They just read this and like, oh, he means homosexuals, Jews, and blacks. And
anything,
shit. Anything. That's how I'm reading it. Again, they're only 2 episodes in. Maybe there's more to it than that.
It's an interesting direction they decided to take.
Yeah, but like just simple things like in the first episode, you see a car go down the street. They show the Tulsa riots back in Black Wall Street whenever...
I remember reading something about that was in the show.
Yeah, I felt terrible for not knowing shit about this, but then it started to trend on Twitter. So apparently a bunch of Americans didn't know about this. They don't teach this in schools and shit.
They kind of just...
So as a Canadian, I didn't feel as bad. I was like, okay, because I didn't.
Yeah.
But basically, there was a trial where a black man was accused of assaulting a woman, and then it I think what happened was that he was... There was rumors of him being brought downtown, so the riots started. Like a bunch of white people started showing up, and then black people just started literally getting dragged out of their homes, like children, women getting beaten in the streets.
Jesus Christ.
The private police hired. I think they weren't sure if they're residential or what, but like planes started flying over, just bombing the black neighborhoods.
Does that actually happen in reality?
Yeah, that was the real.
That wasn't the twist.
No, that's
Jesus
legit.
Christ.
So the twist comes is that one of the survivors is potentially in the first episode the antagonist. You're like, oh, this crippled tiny black man.
Mr. Glass?
Almost very Mr. Glass-like. Yeah, totally. So anyways, the long short of it, in the first episode, you see like a car going down the street in the middle of the night, blasting hip-hop, and then the cop pulls him over. The window comes down, and it's this white redneck. And you're like, wait a minute. And they go to the cop, and the cop's black, but he has like a yellow scarf on his face. The color yellow is very iconic in The Watchmen.
Right.
So it's like, oh, this is some sort of weird parallel world where white people are being persecuted by black cops, where the police force is so fucking targeted and hated, vilified, they have to cover their faces. Right away, I'm like, okay, let's see where you're going with this. Okay. Interesting premise. I won't say exactly what happens because something happens right away, like that galvanizes the storyline. That kicks off the storyline.
Is that actually where they're going with it? That white people are oppressed?
That's the thing. It's so racially charged. I'm like, weird. Where are you going with this?
That almost feels like that. Didn't they want to do a series? The
Confederate series,
right?
But it's not so much because Regina King's the main character. She's what's her name? Black Lightning. She's like the main superhero.
That's an actual superhero. That's in the DC universe.
Yeah, that is. No, you're right. That is. God damn it! What's her name? Sister Knight.
Sister Knight.
Yeah, she looks like essentially like a nun with the rosary beads and everything, but she's got a scarf over her face and her eyes are like spray painted black. But she's a cop who also doubles as a superhero. In this world, like superheroes and the cops kind of have their force.
Okay.
And then the Rorschachs are like this neo-Nazi group that they thought disappeared, but now like they want to start war again. So it's.
I like Rorschach.
I love Rorschach. Rorschach's my favorite character, but I love the idea.
It's gonna be hard to dress up for him for Halloween now.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I love the idea of like how people can misinterpret a message. Like Rorschach's the hero that fucking of that series that he sends out the journal at the end and totally pinholes Vight's entire plan. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Veidt gets a hold of the journal and starts putting in like anti-Semitic shit.
And you're right though. He has to say some questionable things in that journal in the comic.
Yeah.
He does not like gay people.
Yeah. Although it is kind of implicated Rorschach might be gay.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like,
he's self-hating.
Exactly. I mean, there might be a bit because he's all fucked up. So maybe there's a bit of self-loathing.
mom.
Yeah. So what's in the Diary of a Psychopath? Again, it could also be Vike covering his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, oh no, there was a bunch of like racist and anti-Semitic shit in the fucking you didn't see this?
Yeah.
Oh, one time we were at a Watchmen meeting, and he was like, if these fucking coons don't get... Ooh,
yeah, he totally said that. I have a recording.
It's right here. Yeah, check it out. You see my tiger? My tiger's purple.
Is it? Oh, does his tiger die? Or is
Bubastis,
that just in the movie?
Yeah, he disintegrates Bubastis.
Is it just in the movie?
No, because he uses the tiger to lure Dr. Manhattan to that field. Yeah, that's. That's in the movie. It's in the comic. Everything from the comics in the fucking movie.
Every fucking frame.
Every second.
It's just somehow horrible. So 2 questions about Watchmen.
Yes.
One, you say they reference, but do you see the giant squid? No.
But it's
heavily
clearly the giant Squidverse.
They don't do like a newsreel flashback or something.
Nope.
And you see
it's interesting because again, it's something that they've implicated. I'm like, oh, where's that gonna go? Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be like Dark Knight Rises, where the truth's gonna have to come forward, and you're gonna find out that wasn't orchestrated.
They're definitely weaving something
in there.
Yeah, because like they're like the first couple episodes. Like, I don't think it's any spoilers in saying Jeremy Irons plays Ozymandias.
Yeah.
But one of the first things they show you in the show is a headline saying Ozymandias, Vike confirmed dead. But you're like, no, he's clearly so clearly there's something going on here. So it makes me very suspicious of every single thing they show him. You're like screwing. I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Well, his whole character is a master plan.
Exactly.
So he's gonna have something.
Yeah.
And the other one was Dr. Manhattan, or Mr. Dr. Manhattan. Yeah, I see him in the trailer. Has he shown up yet?
They've shown him once on like news, like CNN footage. They show him on Mars, and he's like creating structures and just disintegrating.
You don't really see his face.
No, he's like a blue light. He's just this tiny little blue light. I think he might have been briefly shown in a flashback, but he was just like he looked like blurry in the background. It might have been a flashback to the funeral, if I remember correctly, because he's in the suit. But he's just blue. He's not glowing. He's just a blue dude.
Because in the comic, didn't he leave at the end?
At the end, he just fucked off.
He's just like, I'm done with this universe for a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go maybe make my own.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's brought up like the people incur his name all the time. Like it's almost as a joke. Like, ooh, how do you know that? Maybe I'm Dr. Manhattan. Like shit like that. You know.
Okay. Interesting. I'll check. I don't have HBO. But I do want to check it out. But it's one of those things where I'm kind of waiting. I have so little time to commit to things.
Oh, I know.
You know
but what's great about this one is that what I like about it is that they're doing it weekly. It's
Yeah.
not like a binge watch thing. So I get to because you need to digest it. You need some time to think about it for a minute.
I guess that's a problem I'm going to face because I kind of want to wait to see if it's worth it. I don't want Westworld again, where I waste 10 hours to be like, oh fuck. But then binging it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's like
dense.
binging Dark Crystal.
Yeah, it's really dense. Yeah, and it's got Don Johnson.
Oh yeah,
It's got Don fucking Johnson,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
The only image that comes to my head when I think of Don Johnson is from Django.
I know.
Yeah.
It used to be Nash Bridges because I grew up with that as a kid.
Yeah.
But now it's totally like, you came all the way up here to bow wow my nigga girl. Like, I just can't not hear it.
What's the Jerry? Treat him like Jerry.
What's that Picklewood boy works down at the
Jerry. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why my favorite is you want me to treat him like white folk? No. The way his face drops. That's not what I said.
Yeah. Is it Peckerwood? What's the name of that Peckerwood boy? It's clearly implying that he is handy capable.
Oh, he's so fucking funny in that movie. Oh. Just because you want to see the worst version of Don Johnson ever wearing a Colonel Sanders outfit.
Yeah. I totally missed out on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, unfortunately. I'm going to have to
see it on video. Yeah, I mean, and the problem is, like, that's one of those ones... it was the opposite of Hateful Eight for me, because Hateful Eight I think I had to watch in 3 goes maybe. But that one I don't know if I was able to sit at home and pause and get up if I would enjoy it as much as just having to sit there and just getting smacked around by it.
Just take it in.
Yeah.
That is the problem, because I do get fidgety and I usually take breaks when I'm watching stuff.
Yeah.
In a theater, because it's funny. It's almost like an attention span thing.
Yep.
Because in a theater, there is a point in every movie in theater where I'm kind of like, and then you kind of have to ride through that point.
It's always whenever the hero's down and out, right before the third act, I'm just like, I'm going to go take a piss, because I've heard this speech a billion times.
I need a minute here. I need a minute.
Now she's going to sit down and say, you are the person you are inside, or some shit like that.
Right, exactly. And then everything will be fun, and there'll be light piano music in the background.
There's going to be some build-up with a snare.
Yeah, right? But yeah, get a Netflix subscription because Disney's taking over the entire world.
Speaking of which, that Mandalorian's looking sweet.
I don't want to give Disney any more of my money though. I'm kind of done giving Disney my money.
Giving Disney a lot. I bought I hated myself because for this podcast I had to buy my Rise of Skywalker tickets.
Yeah, I can't believe they're out already.
Yeah,
that's alarming.
I think they did this with the last couple.
Did you hear that they it's bombing in test audiences and they're still filming? Principal photography wrapped like 3 months ago, and they put a cut together and they shopped it around, or not shopped it around. They put it out into test screenings, and it was bombing hard in test screenings because J.J. Abrams said, "Hey, I'm going to do what I want with this movie. I'm not going to worry about the audience." And then Disney got upset by that because of all the recent failures. So in reshoots, they have shot 6 different endings, and now they're actually sending out each ending to test screens to see which one performs the best.
Oh boy.
And then that's the one they're going to use.
Because there's so many birds in the air. How do you land all those planes?
You don't.
Especially, I've been comparing it to you recently, and I know this is going to be like me beating a dead horse about episode 8. But whenever you were in elementary school and you had to learn parenting and you had to do that project where you all had to take care of an egg for a couple of days.
Right.
Okay, so the teacher gave the 3 guys an egg. And the first dude did a pretty good job of taking care of it.
Second dude just threw it against the wall.
No, the next dude painted it like an Easter egg. And it was like, people won't be expecting this.
And now
Then the teacher was like, fuck this, the third guy's out.
Yeah.
First guy, you have to take
go
this.
back.
So now he's got white paint and he's trying to go over it
So
and making
hard.
it look like an egg again.
So hard.
And I'm just like, it's funny because I called it whenever episode 8 came out. That there's no stakes at the end of that movie.
No.
It wraps up. It's over.
Yeah.
So
with
it's
a little fucking kid holding a broom.
holding a fucking broom and staring at the stars. Like, if that's not a bigger indication like we're out of ideas, like the little kid's just holding a broom pretending it's a lightsaber.
And the Falcon warping away to adventure. Or limping away with the last of the... I don't know.
How am I supposed to feel about this ending? Anyways... Is that you feel it now when every time there's a new trailer, every podcast I've been listening to, people I talk to, I'm like, what do you think of this one? They're like, let me guess what's going to happen. Star Wars Part 3. The Emperor unveils his secret plan, unleashes his armada in a vain attempt to stop the good guys.
Yeah, and maybe the good guys and the bad guys have to work together to stop the Emperor as a third threat.
But like...
Because did you see Star Destroyers coming out of the fucking water?
Yep.
James doing that fucking out of the water thing again.
Yep.
He did it to the Enterprise.
Yep.
And now he's doing it to Star Destroyers.
It's the end of every trilogy. Palpatine's like, my plan! And then it doesn't work. It's always the same
And you
ending.
know Palpatine's going to be like, I was Snoke all along.
Yeah. $20 he's communicating through the helmet.
Yeah.
Because remember, Kylo Ren's talking to them like, show me again. I'm like, what did the helmet show you?
Right.
It's got to be that. Because they show the fucking helmet again. It's back. The charred up Darth Vader helmet.
Because originally, I think the idea when they made that movie was they were considering doing that... when a Jedi died, a dark Jedi or a Sith, there would be his good ghost and his bad ghost.
Oh.
And the bad ghost of Vader was talking to him, was the idea. They were bumbling around, but then Rian Johnson kind of fucked up all their plans. So who knows how they're going to go in this one.
And this one's like 2.5 hours?
Is it?
It's like the longest one. I saw a graph today of episodic order, so the prequels kind of go like this, and then drops off for Star Wars, and then just... It's like it just goes right up.
Is it? I think the longest is still Attack of the Clones, right?
This one's longer than Attack of the Clones.
Jesus
I think
Christ.
it's like 240. I think.
I don't know. Last Jedi nearly killed me. I remember on our Last Jedi podcast, I was like, as soon as they landed on that salt planet, I was like, no, there's a whole other act.
And like, because I watched that movie quite a few times and tried to find where it falls apart, and like. In that last bit, you gotta introduce Luke doing that shit. If you're gonna go that route with Luke, you gotta do it before the speeder thing. Because the speeder thing is ridiculous. They pop out in these skinly ass coat hangers, rusted speeders against these mammoth walkers. You're like, I don't need the battle at that point. No. I know they're gonna lose. Yeah. You don't need to do the Battle of Hoth tribute.
Just stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah, it's too much, that ending. So by the time I get to Luke, I'm like, I don't care. I was checked out 40 minutes ago.
And what was the line in the trailer where like Luke's in the new trailer where he's actually like, the Jedi live on with you now. It's like, wasn't the last one called The Last Jedi because Luke wanted the Jedi to end? Why? Is that just a fuck you test too that he was doing?
It's gotta be. There's just no... arc to this whatsoever. It's just this weird bumblefuck. So now
It's total bumblefuck.
And now, like, it's like the chickens have come home to roost, and then people are like, y'all excited for this movie? Everyone's like, no. There's no... Yes, okay, fine. You can say all you want about that last film, about how it fucking changed the game and all this shit, but look at what's left over.
Yeah.
You have it's not a 3-story structure. You had decades to plan this out.
You literally had decades.
And then you're doing it all at the last minute.
I think I want to go out. I think we should go out. I think we gotta go because we're babbling about Star Wars now. We're both gonna go for an hour if we let ourselves. But I want to say this one last thing. Follow these titles: The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. No sense.
Nah.
It makes no sense.
Nah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we'll be back in a few weeks or a week now, or we won't be back. And we want to do The Irishman, we want to do
Mandalorian, Jojo Rabbit,
Jojo. And yeah, sorry, if you give us an inch, we're gonna ramble about Star Wars for hours. You know we will. Yeah, I can't. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the Rise of Skywalker
we should
podcast.
just do like a 3-hour.
Yeah,
you gotta encompass 9 movies.
Because we could go for a day.
Yeah.
So
just marathon for charity. How long can we go?
How can we go? We're both just sucking back water, but our throats are dead.
No, it doesn't suck. Is that fucking battle at the end of Phantom Menace? It has some redeeming qualities.
The pod race is kind of neat, I guess. I don't know. The game was great. And actually, that's the number one reason I'm looking forward to Rise of Skywalker is for us to have free reign. It's not like we're fucking up a Netflix podcast.
Nope.
Where we could just go nuts on Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a lot of fun.
For one last time.
One last time. Until the next movie, which will be soon. Don't be fooled. It'll never die. It'll never die. Hopefully like our show. Probably not like our show.